The odds were not nearly as long and the silverware one much less coveted, yet Sam Ricketts sees parallels with Leicester City's Premier League winning season when he recalls Hull City's journey towards uncharted territory ground a decade ago. For all, promotion had been a pipe dream when the 2007-08 season kicked off with a 3-2 defeat at home to Plymouth Argyle. Appetites grew sharper the longer the campaign went on. Leaving the championship via its top end 12 months after dodging relegation to League One somehow became the unlikely goal. City began by whispering it quietly, purposefully climbing up from 18th in early October to 2nd by the middle of April, but within Phil Brown's dressing room it soon became all players thought about. Ricketts, who started all but 2 of the 46 league games, was consumed by the possibility of reaching the Premier League for the first time. "We didn't come into that season wanting to get promoted," said Ricketts, who was this month handed his first managerial post when taking charge of Wrexham. "I'm not sure that was the aim for anyone. But we gradually built as the season went on and improved as a team. We had good players who worked incredibly hard for each other. Everyone bought into what we were trying to do. The team was full of players who had never been in the Premier League before, so once all those eyes were fixed on the possibility of winning promotion, it galvanized everyone. It was a bit like when Leicester won the Premier League. They never thought they were going to win the Premier League at the start of that season, but I will guarantee you that for the last few months of that season, they ate, slept and breathed those possibilities." That was us in 2008. Class of 2007-2008, where are Hull City's Wembley heroes? Again, like Leicester, who avoided relegation at City's expense in 2014-15 before winning the Premier League crown 12 months later, Ricketts traces the success of 2007-08 back to the previous campaign. City had been hugely disappointing when dogged by relegation fears during Ricketts' first season at the KCOM Stadium, but holding their nerve down the final straight, particularly when winning 1-0 away to Cardiff on the penultimate weekend, created a band of brothers. Brown's appointment that summer came as Russell Bartlett and Paul Duffin increased spending power with their takeover, and Ricketts quickly sensed altered long-term ambitions. "What the season before did, in staying up the way we did, was to start building momentum," he said. "We had momentum from a good, positive end to the previous season. We'd be on a good run to stay up. We came back that summer and Phil Brown had freshened up the training ground, freshened the squad up with some new players. No one was saying we'll do this or that, but players started to come in, like Caleb Folin for £1 million, and we were doing things slightly differently. The training ground had been ripped apart and done up. Psychologically that made a massive difference. Before it was just an old social club, but then we were coming in and it was an actual training ground, a canteen with tables. It was far more professional, feeling like a club that was trying to do something. Things began to click for City and for Ricketts, too. The £300,000 signing from Swansea City had not always convinced during his debut season in East Yorkshire, but soon became the model of consistency. A total of 49 appearances came in 2007-08, as a near ever-present on the right of City's defence. It took me a while to settle into the area and only in the second year was I happy and confident again, admitted Ricketts. You only have a handful in your career, but I look back on 2007-08 as one of my best. I felt every week I would play well and, generally, I did that. It was funny, Phil Brown never said, well done, all season, and then at the end he told me I was his player of the season. I remember it coming off the pitch away to Ipswich. He said, "You've been outstanding this season, well done. I had no wingers giving me problems that year. I was getting forward and putting balls in the box. I really enjoyed it." Ricketts had previously fallen short in the League One playoffs with Swansea, but a first appearance at Wembley brought no regrets. One magnificent block denying Darren Byfield the chance to turn in Ivan Sproul's low cross late in the game was no less important than Window's spectacular volley. "I've got 3 memories from the game," said Ricketts. The first is Dean Windaw scoring the goal. He ran all the way up to our fans, everyone followed him and I was the only player in their half so they couldn't take the kick off. As soon as you're all back in your half, the ref will let them take the kickoff, so I stood in their half to make sure they couldn't. I was there by myself while they were celebrating. The second thing is going up for a header after about 60 minutes and I had cramp. I'd done so much running that year and I'd never got cramp that whole season. Last thing is when we were about 15 minutes from the end and looking across to Michael Turner. It was backs to the wall stuff, but I said to him, "Turnsey, you know if we don't concede here, we'll be Premier League footballers next year." We had a little look at each other and just cracked on. We both made great blocks at the end of that game and that was it. And the celebrations that followed. We knew all about it being the biggest city in Europe that hadn't been in the top flight, he added. That had hung around for years, but it probably wasn't really until we went up that we started to feel what it meant to the city. Hull City's Nick Barmby and Sam Ricketts. I tried to remember as much as I could of the celebrations. Me and Turnsey celebrated at the end, but it was a whirlwind half an hour after the final whistle, which go down as some of the best moments in your life. They were very special times. The next few days were a blur. I'd never been on an open-top bus tour and, to this day, it's the only time I've done one. Your life just goes on hold for those days, but they were great times. Get the Hull Live app. The Hull Live app is the home of everything that's happening in Hull. It's completely free and features all the latest news, sport and what's on information. You can download it for iPhone and iPad from Apple's App Store, or get the Android version from Google Play.